My name is Linda Yoshimoto, and I will be presenting on Japan's indigenous people, the Ainu. The Ainu are descendant from the Jomon people. They are believed to be a merger of the Oxtosk and Satsumon cultures. They are located and defined as native people of Hokkaido, Sakhalin, and Kurils. According to the research done throughout this presentation, there are roughly 25,000 people consisted within the tribe of Ainu people. The language that the Ainu use is very unique. It is not Japanese, although they are Japan's indigenous people. Instead, their language is believed to be originated from Oxtosk people. The Ainu also relied upon oral literature to convey information. A lot of who they are based on their ancestors and what was passed down from generation to generation. The Ainu cultivated epic sagas to convey history, legends, and way of life through oral tradition. They created a rich traditional culture including imaginative music, song, and dance, while establishing profound beliefs which extended throughout the entire spiritual world. Again, a lot of what the Ainu are and believe were passed from generation to generation, becoming the foundation of their culture and generally who they are as a community. In this first segment, I will discuss the clothing, customs, food source, and housing of the Ainu, thus their way of life. Their clothing were traditionally made with the bark of an elm tree. Robes were called atusi or atush and were worn in multiple styles. A lot of the supplies the Ainu used were gathered from the land and environment around them. So they used fish skin and animal hides for clothes. They made the most out of what was around them or what they were given to create other materials and supplies needed to survive. There were many customs of the Ainu that I found to be interesting. However, those that are listed on this slide are what stood out most to me. First, men would never shave at a certain age. This would leave them with full beards and mustaches as shown in the bottom left picture. Second, both men and women were to have shoulder-length hair. And last but not least, women tattooed their mouths and in some cases their forearms as well. The tattoo would start on the upper lip with a small spot at a young age and would gradually increase in size as they got older. The tattoo is shown on the bottom right picture. The tattoo went around their lips, kind of like an exaggerated outline of the lips. The food source of the Ainu were primarily gathered from the resources around them. They foraged plants, berries, and grass. They rarely ate raw fish or meat and would instead cook them within soups or would just roast them. They hunted for their food, and this included a wide variety of animals ranging from salmon, deer, bears, raccoons, squirrels, rabbits, and wild birds. Also on this slide, I have listed the types of wild birds that they would hunt, which would include the pheasants, jay sparrows, parrots, and ducks. The Ainu lived in buildings called sais. They were houses thatched with saw or bamboo grass. They lived in small villages along rivers, and the rivers that they lived near surrounded around Hokkaido, Sakhalin, and Kuril Islands, which in the first slide is where they were originated from. In this second segment, I will be discussing the traditions of the Ainu, which was primarily art and music. The art of the Ainu included wood carving, embroidery, weaving, and tattooing. Their music included tankori and mukuri. Tankori was a plucked zither made with a single pierce of wood from a tree. The mukuri was a jaw harp played by women. Throughout my research, it seemed that the Ainu loved to be together in harmony through song and dance. It was their way of coming together as one, sharing something that they all love together, enjoying each other's company. I will shortly be talking about their rituals, in which they also dance and play music, but this seems like just a big part of who the Ainu were. Last but not least, the Ainu religion with beliefs and rituals. Their beliefs encircled the Kumoi, which means gods or spirits. The Ainu believe that Kumoi were everywhere and are always watching over humans. They believed that all things were endowed with Kumoi, consisting of flora, fauna, fire, water, mind, mountains, and rivers. Generally, the culture of the Ainu were very naturalistic and gathered everything that they needed for survival from the environment around them. Man-made materials were created from things around them in their environment. And this is primarily because they show their appreciation to their Kumoi by using what Kumoi provides. Trees, animals, and anything that surrounds them were believed to be provided by Kumoi. Further than that, Kumoi was their protector in all things. Having their faith in Kumoi helped keep their community together as one, working towards the same goal in appreciating and working according to the ways of Kumoi. And the most important ritual to the Ainu was called Iomante. This occurred between January and February, where the snow on the ground was raised to a certain amount. They began the ritual by capturing a bear cub during its hibernation and raised it for about a month so that they could build that bond with the bear. They would then pray to a fire goddess a day before the ritual, followed by dancing, singing, and storytelling. And the fact that they would pray to a fire goddess was really important because they felt that a connection to other gods or spirits would not be able to happen unless they had that connection with the fire goddess first. The next day, the day of the ritual, they would tie the bear cub to a post. Women would line up in front to clap and dance while the men shot arrows to kill the bear. The ritual would end with a young man who shoots an arrow toward the sky, specifically pointed east, which is a sacred direction to the Ainu. And to the Ainu, this entire ritual wasn't necessarily a sacrifice. Instead, it was believed that a god spirit came to the people, disguised as a bear, and the death of a bear released the spirit back to God's land. The return of the spirit is what made this ritual so important to the Ainu. Thank you for listening. That is all for my presentation. I hope you were able to learn as much information as I did throughout the research conducted and found the tribe of Ainu people, as fascinating as I did.